What's up, people? Welcome to the video and welcome back, members of the Tang Gang. Today we're going to be doing my predictions for Stage 3 of Overwatch League Season 2, which kicks off on Thursday, June 6th, so that's next Thursday. But real quick first, I want to congratulate the winners of the giveaway from last week. Thank you so much to everyone who participated. It was super fun and I can't wait to do another one soon. On screen now are the names of the 10 lucky winners who will be receiving an Overwatch League t-shirt of their choice. If you see your name here, you should have received an email from me letting you know how you can claim your prize. And for everybody who didn't win, there's always next time. Congratulations again to the winners, and now without further ado, let's jump right into the predictions. In terms of general predictions for the entire stage, I honestly don't think it's going to be that much different than Stage 2. While we have seen buffs to things like bunker comps and other strategies, I don't see anything kicking goats off the throne anytime soon. Making bunker strong is a good thing and it will be seen on some maps, but really it's too situational in my opinion. As long as goats can be played, the pros will play it because honestly that's just what they're used to. And in a lot of cases there really is just no better option than to just play 3-3. The formula for taking down goats is not to buff other comps and hope they get played over goats, it's to nerf 3-3 itself. I haven't really expressed my opinion on this matter before, but I am in favor of a 2-2-2 system for Overwatch, at least in the Overwatch League. That is, locking teams to 2 DPS, 2 tanks, and 2 supports at all times. This not only solves the GOATS problem, but also makes the Overwatch League a more digestible viewing experience for everyone. In traditional sports like hockey, for example, you have 3 forwards, 2 defensemen, and a goalie on the ice at all times. I don't see why it would be a problem to enforce this in the Overwatch League. I've heard that most of the teams are in favor of a 2-2-2 lock as well, and honestly I can understand why. The DPS players want to play DPS again, and we want to see them play DPS again, not play Zarya and Brig. It's just getting old. That being said though, we could see some teams try to shake it up and try new comps with the new changes going into Stage 3, but unfortunately we will not be seeing a 2-2-2 lock. Fingers crossed for Stage 4 and at worst case Season 3, but right now if you want to see any change in the comps that are played in the Overwatch League, you gotta hope that the balance changes come through. Sadly though, I'm predicting that won't be the case. And thus the teams will perform largely the same as they did in the previous 2 stages. So with that in mind, let's quickly go through week 1 of the stage and make some predictions for how the matches will pan out. First up is San Francisco Shock versus Atlanta Reign. We have seen Atlanta's upset potential when they were able to defeat New York Excelsior 2 times in a row last stage. It's very possible that they come out and surprise us with something huge against San Francisco. But if what I'm predicting is true and the meta doesn't really change, I don't see San Francisco losing to a team like Atlanta Reign. Giving the Reign the benefit of the doubt, I say the Shock probably win 3-1. Next up is the Florida Mayhem versus the Seoul Dynasty. Seoul is a middle-of-the-line team that's been steadily on the up and up, while Florida is one of the worst teams in the entire league, so there's no question in my mind that Seoul will take the victory here. I don't even think Florida will put up much of a fight, and Seoul will take it 4-0. Then we've got the Guangzhou Charge versus the Chengdu Hunters, and now we've got a good match on our hands. Not only do these 2 teams have a very close record so far in this season, but they're both from China, so they'll be battling for dominance of the region. I think this is going to be one of the more hyped matches of the week, as most Chengdu matches are, but it's going to end up going to the Hunters 3-2. Then we have the LA Valiant versus the Shanghai Dragons. This is one that I could see Valiant actually potentially winning. However, we haven't seen the effects of the loss of Fate on the team quite yet. I think the Dragons might just be a little too good for the struggling Valiant team, and unless they made some huge changes to their game, I say the Dragons take it 3-1. Moving on to the Paris Eternal versus Toronto Defiant. While these teams do seem pretty close record-wise, I feel like Paris tends to fall apart when they come up against an opponent that's pretty close to their power level. They're good at squashing the lower ranked teams, but a team like Toronto Defiant will probably be able to take them out, and I think it's going to be 3-2 Toronto. Next up is the Boston Uprising versus the London Spitfire. These are 2 teams that have experienced some ups and downs this season for sure. The difference is that Boston has made some significant roster changes while London has stuck to their guns and tried to improve with the players they've got. And I must say, while I have been impressed by both of these teams, I think that London is going to be even stronger going into this next stage, especially if Orisa does become more viable. We all know Gesture loves his Orisa, so I think it goes to London 3-2. Then Then we have the Houston Outlaws versus New York Excelsior. Houston definitely would thrive more in a bunker comp meta versus a goats meta, so they may not be as trash as they were last stage if bunker does become a bit more viable. That being said, neither the comp nor the team is that flexible, and New York is actually the opposite of that, so I say NYXL takes it 4-0. Moving on, we have the LA Gladiators versus the Dallas Fuel. I expect this to be another really hype match this week, with both teams at a 9-5 record trying to push into the upper echelons of the league. It's a really tough call because I really like both teams and they're both really strong, but I think I have to go with my gut and say it's going to be 3-2 Dallas Fuel. Then up next is a very similar match between the Hangzhou Spark and the Philadelphia Fusion. This time one step down with both teams at 8-6. A win here would put that team on par with the team that loses the previous match, but still bodes well for the team's performance overall. And honestly, I was going to give this one to Philly, but something inside me told me it's gonna go the other way, so I'm gonna predict 3-2 for Hangzhou. They tend to surprise me, and I think they've been improving more rapidly than Philly has, so I say they're gonna be moving up in the league pretty quickly. Anyway, next we have Vancouver Titans versus Atlanta Reign. God, why did Atlanta get put against the Shock and the Vancouver Titans in the same week? They have just had the roughest of schedules lately, and despite that they're 7-7 because of the 2 wins against New York. Unfortunately though, I can't see them having the same luck against the Stage 1 champions, the undefeated Vancouver Titans, who will probably win 4-0. Then we've got a match between 2 teams who have already played this week, the Seoul Dynasty and the Guangzhou Charge. If my previous predictions come true, then Seoul will be coming off an easy win against the Mayhem, and Guangzhou will be coming off a tough loss to Chengdu. In fact, I think the Charge might prepare more for the Hunters than for Seoul, and Seoul might prepare more for this match than their match against Florida, so I think Seoul is going to take this one as well, 3-1. Next up is the LA Valiant versus the Chengdu Hunters. This is a similar situation, but I think the Valiant might actually have a little bit of a better chance beating Chengdu than Shanghai. Maybe it's just me wanting the Valiant to get themselves out of this hole they've dug, but I'm predicting they're going to defeat the Hunters 3-2. Then we've got the battle of the classic Titans, New York Excelsior versus London Spitfire. And I just realized I called them Titans, and that could be confusing because there's a team called the Titans, but you guys can handle it. NYXL has a much better record this season, but they have a history of losing to London, so this is actually a tough call. I'll definitely be looking forward to this match because I think it's going to be very close, but I think New York ends up taking it 2-1. Then we have the Paris Eternal versus the Boston Uprising. Another pretty tough call, but like I mentioned before, when Paris comes up against similarly skilled teams, they tend to crack. Boston currently has the same record as Toronto, which Paris played earlier in the week, and I think the outcome will be pretty much the same. Boston wins it 3-1. Next up is the Washington Justice versus the Dallas Fuel. I really do like all the roster changes that Washington is making. They're one of the only teams that I think are actually picking up exactly what they need. The problem has been they still haven't been executing it all that well. Meanwhile, the Dallas Fuel have been playing solid Overwatch, and I haven't seen many cracks in their play. Maybe the Justice will get a draw on one map, but that's all they're gonna get. Dallas Fuel wins 3-0. And finally, we close out the week with the Vancouver Titans versus the LA Gladiators. This is a tough week for lag because I did predict a loss to Dallas Fuel, and now they're against the Vancouver Titans. I normally like to predict upsets in the last match of the week to get the hype going, but this time I don't know if I can do it. I just don't think the meta will change enough for the Vancouver Titans to falter and lose to a middle of the line team like the LA Gladiators. We can make it interesting, but I think the Titans will still take it 3-2. And that's it for my predictions for Stage 3 of Overwatch League. Let me know what you think of my predictions down in the comments below. And don't forget to like the video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to become a member of the Tang Gang. Check out some of my other videos if you haven't already, share them with your friends, and until we meet again, later people!